All right, we're going to do the running backs here. Ben will have the first pick. A lot more fluidity in this one, I felt like. This, you could put really anyone anywhere within like 5 spots, I felt like. So Ben gets to lead us off with the tough task of deciding who's actually number 1.
I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns, number 1.
All right.
Nick Chubb, arguably best pure runner in the NFL. Right behind adding a second quality starter level option in Kareem Hunt. And then to go along with that, Dearness Johnson, who was really good in 2021. And I think, you got 3 guys right there that you wouldn't have a problem carrying the ball 25 times in a game. So
yeah, even Demetric Felton's gotten the ball. Jerome Ford, they drafted this year.
Yep.
Was it Cincinnati? Did you go to Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, yep.
Yeah, and then John Kelly's even been around for a little bit. So that's 6 guys deep. Nothing to complain about.
Yep.
I guess for me, then
I'm gonna need to run the ball because Deshaun's gonna be in some trouble.
Probably Baker. It's probably Jacoby Brissett right now, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Titans here.
Okay.
And number 2, Derrick Henry, coming off injury season, so hopefully he's had enough time to heal and rev it up. I think he's got at least one more really good year in him left before his body starts breaking down on him, because they've really used him a lot. But I think Dontrell Hilliard in his absence last year split time with D'Onta Foreman. Mm-hmm. I know D'Onta Foreman is now passed on to, I'm trying to think I think the Panthers. But yeah, then after that, they drafted Hassan Haskins, who I think could have a decent career in the NFL after a couple of years of doing his time as a backup guy.
PFF thinks that he could end up being the number 2 role eventually too.
Yeah.
He fits that offense.
Yeah. And Trenton Gannon's been around. He's kind of going to be the kick returner, I think. And Jordan Wilkins, a lot of people remember as like that 3rd running back in a pretty stacked Colts room for a while there.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay. Speaking of the Colts, I think I'm going to go with them at number 3 here. Jonathan Taylor, really probably a lot. I think PFF had him as the best running back last year overall. He's obviously a running back that you're going to build around. You don't really want to take him off the field, but Nyheim Hines is one of the better receiving running backs in the entire NFL. And then they picked up Phillip Lindsey, who, was pretty down last year for Houston, but if he's your 3rd running back, he had some great seasons back with the Broncos for a while. And he's still pretty young. Mm-hmm. He's a good receiver out of the backfield as well. So really solid. I wouldn't hate having those 3 guys on any team. So
I feel like this is what I'm talking about. It gets pretty fluid. These next 5 spots, mm-hmm. Could really be anyone. And gosh, I really hate just saying it because I don't know what we're going to get out of them anymore, but Panthers, I'm going to go with that 4. Christian McCaffrey, we'll see if he still's got it. Hopefully he had another good season to recover. Obviously, Chuba Hubbard's was really good, even filling in for him. D'Onta Foreman is now on the team, and he just filled in for Derrick Henry last year and did a nice job. Spencer Brown just drafted this year. And we remember John Leavette from Penn State. So there's a couple guys there, but I think those top 3 are something to be happy with.
I think, fully healthy Christian McCaffrey can put them into the top 3. But we'll see. Obviously he was so good. In some of the best seasons we've ever seen. So, okay. Man, this is tough. I'm going to go with the Saints here.
Even without Kamara suspended 6 games?
Yeah, I counted him into it just because it's not a full season.
Yeah.
I just counted him as the number 1 back on it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they look this year, but Mark Ingram still is a solid backup as well. I think, he's one of the better number 2s around. They really need Kamara to bounce back to his 2017 to 2020 form. But Kamara, when he's going, he's as good of a receiver as a lot of receivers in the NFL right now. So I think just his versatility, and then along with Mark Ingram in the backfield, I think, and they're going to rely on those 2 guys, especially once Kamara comes back.
Well, that's the thing. Tony Jones is their third or fourth running back too, and he played a lot last year as well. At the beginning, we remember the longevity of Dwayne Washington. Has been in the league as a backup. I think he's going into his 7th year. He started with the Lions for the first 3. And then Davino Zigbo from Nebraska. Abram Smith, I think, is Baylor, the rookie. So he's fast. So any one of those guys could see the ball for the first 6 weeks because even Mark Ingram now in his age may not be able to carry the ball 24 times anymore in a game. So they're going to have to rely on these other guys.
Nope.
So, all right, I'm going to go with probably what I felt like was the deepest all around. Like, I think their first 3 guys are pretty good running backs, and even their first 6. Like, I don't hate that. So I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep.
We saw Rashad Penny just come out of nowhere towards the end of the season. It seemed like he was consistently putting up 100-yard games with Chris Carson out. Now Chris Carson's almost considered to be the 3rd running back now after just a couple years ago being a top 5 running back in the NFL. And then they draft Kenneth Walker on top of that. DJ Dallas played a lot last year. Travis Homer had some time last year. And Darwin Thompson played for the Chiefs a little bit too. So, a lot of guys there that I would not complain about having on my team.
Yep. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Packers here.
Yep, that's my next one.
Aaron Jones. Arguably, I would say he's a top 5 running back as far as as for pure value to his team, just because of what he can do in the passing game as well. And then AJ Dillon was awesome last year. I wouldn't be surprised if it's closer to a 50-50 split with playing time this year for them. Just because AJ Dillon just gives them something a little bit different. That it's kind of rare in running backs right now. Just because he's so big. He's kind of a bowling ball. Yeah, it's a perfect change of pace from what Aaron Jones brings to the table. So I think they belong right there. I wouldn't be surprised to see them both well over 200 carries. I think that can take a lot off of Aaron Rodgers too, because that passing game, while I still expect it to be elite just because of Aaron Rodgers, they don't have Devontae Adams anymore. So,
yeah, and any one of those next 3 guys could be the guy that gives a change of pace, like 2 or 3 carries a game, whether it's Kylan Hill, Patrick Taylor, or Tyler Goodson out of Iowa.
Yep, they're all fast. Goodson's a great receiver too. So.
All right. Well, I think the NFC North is very good running back. So I'm going to go number 8 for the Vikings. That's Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison. Seems like every time Cook is out with something, Madison comes in and trucks his way to 100 yards. Kenyon Wayne did pretty well too. He's a great return man. And then they got Bryant Koback and Ty Chandler this year in the draft. So I don't know. I really like just even Madison. I think is a super underrated number 2.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's just because he's kind of overshadowed by Cook. But I think
it seems like every time he gets the opportunity, he does something.
He could be a starting running back on most teams. And
I think the Vikings have always had that, whether it was like Chester Taylor back with Adrian Peterson, and they used to have Weldy Moore.
And some of that maybe is just like their offensive line being that good too. But I think for sure. I will go with the Dallas Cowboys here. Ezekiel Elliott versus Tony Pollard is a debate on who is actually better anymore. But they have them both. And at one point, I think I saw a stat. Ezekiel Elliott picked up a first down or scored a touchdown on 30% of his carries for the first 4 weeks of the season. So he's still very good before he got hurt again last year. But Pollard just provides a little bit more, explosion, more catching out of the backfield than Zeke. And I think they complement each other. Now, if Elliott could get back to, his 4 or 5 year ago form, then he could be a top 5 running back again in the NFL. But I think the combo of the two still puts them up here towards the top of the list. So
yeah, and Rico Dowdle can contribute too. So
I'm
gonna go with another deep room with a lot of names. That's gonna be the Miami Dolphins. Chase Edmonds, Sony Michel, Raheem Mostert, Myles Gaskin is their 4, Selvon Ahmed, and Jared Dokes. Really, all of those guys have been a starting running back even. At one point, even Ahmed started a couple games with the Dolphins. So when Gaskin was out, I really think this was a deep room. So yeah, I don't know. No one is a superstar, but 4 of those guys are going to be active game day, and really any one of those could run.
I can agree with that. I think this is a really deep group. I'm going to go with the Ravens here. Their backfield was smoked by injuries last year, but I think it's underrated at times. I don't think they necessarily have that one elite back, but J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, plus with Mike Davis and Tyler Beatty. I mean, that's a pretty deep group.
Dax Hill's brother.
Yeah. Justice Hill. And then Lamar Jackson is basically a running back. So that's a pretty good run game right there. I think, that's a powerful group as well. And that really complements the Lamar Jackson speed. So
just the way John Harbaugh likes to run the ball. Yeah.
They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball a lot with a lot of different guys. So I really do like J.K. Dobbins. I think he can, I don't know about elite, but I think he can be a solid lead back for that group. And
we respect him as a player. We don't like him. Okay. For obvious reasons.
And the other guys are just battering rams. So you don't want to tackle Mike Davis or Gus Edwards. So
not particularly. No, it's on the bucket list. Oh man, what am I going on next year? I'll go with the Broncos. Javonte Williams looked amazing. He looked like a menace on the field last year. Melvin Gordon decided to re-sign another year. Remember another Vikings backup, Mike Boone, and they have Damariah Crockett and Tyreek McAllister. Again, Javonte, Melvin Gordon could be another really good one too.
Yep, I think that's a great one too.
Lucky number 13 here.
I'm gonna go with the Raiders here. They'll still have Josh Jacobs, right, for one more year at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, but and then behind him, Kenyon Drake. I do like Kenyon Drake. He broke his ankle last year, but I think he's a great passing receiver out of the backfield. So he's a perfect number 2, especially because Josh Jacobs. I don't know. I think it's perfect. They're going to complement each other. Both from Alabama. So that's interesting too. So 2 Alabama running backs there. This is kind of where it gets a little more interesting. There's a lot of really good, solid rooms, but
I think Amir Abdullah for the Raiders is what pushed them all the way up here.
Yeah, definitely Amir Abdullah. Yes, yeah,
that's the reason. Yeah, I get it. I feel you. Number 14. Who do I want to go with here? Yeah, you're right. It does get pretty dicey.
Good backs. There's definitely some very good backs still, but it's just the rooms are less.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills. Evan Singletary, James Cook, Duke Johnson, Zach Moss, Tywan Jones. Again, a lot of names right there. We don't know what we're gonna get out of James Cook, obviously. Yeah, it's in the genes though. Duke Johnson, for whatever reason, was a free agent for like the first 10 weeks of the season and did really well when he played. I always felt like he was too good to be a free agent, and then Zach Moss is considered your 4th running back, who was typically the 1-2 punch with Singletary for a while there. So,
yeah. I'll gonna go with the Bengals here.
Okay.
Joe Mixon obviously had the best season of his career probably last year, and I expect him to kind of continue on that track. Especially now that he's got a quarterback. Samaje Perine filled in behind him, can't catch the ball, but and can't gain 1 yard in the Super Bowl. But
good thing Chris Evans can.
But Chris Evans can catch the ball, and I think he was limited obviously just because he's the 3rd running back. But I think they can get him the ball in some more interesting ways. He can be a really effective receiver out of the backfield. So I like their depth. I like their 1-2-3 for sure. So.
I'll go with the Patriots. Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Pierre Strong Jr., and James White.
James White's back, baby.
Yeah, still another year with James White's belt. And Evans the 4th running back, which does show a lot. I mean, Ramondre was good when he played. Damian Harris is good when he played. They expect good things from Pierre Strong too. So
I think James White's going to end up being their best receiving running back, though. Still,
yeah,
if he's healthy.
Yep, he's good.
That's his thing. I'll go with the Giants here.
Ooh, you believe
Pure
in
talent.
Saquon?
Yeah, pure talent alone, Saquon obviously should be way higher on this list, but he's never on the field. But if he can come back to his healthy rookie form, then I feel really good about that. Matt Breida is a solid backup and is very fast. So I like that 1-2 there.
And they have the best name of all these running backs on their roster too. So they can't beat Sandro Platzgummer.
Yes. But I don't know. Saquon, I mean, if he gets back to being healthy, they could end up being in the top 10 next year. But he's just not, never on the field. So.
Okay. This is tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Chargers just because Austin Eckler alone really does kind of move them up. But then you draft Isaiah Spiller early on. Joshua Kelly did a nice job. Larry Rountree's been around. Letty Brown from Baylor as well. So, yeah, I don't hate that room a lot. I think Spiller could be a good running back, and Eckler's already a great running back. So,
yep. I will go. Oh man, this is tough. I'm actually going to go with the Lions here.
Now it's getting closer to them. That's kind of what.
100% based off the 1-2. Deandre Swift. PFF doesn't love Deandre Swift. He is more. They have mentioned that he's more talented than he gets credit for too, or just based off some of their ranking stuffs. But he's a home run hitter. He's just got to stay on the field. He's got to. They talked about in the offseason, like he's got to learn what an injury is and what playing hurt is. So he's got to kind of figure that out and toughen up a little bit. But Jamal Williams is awesome as a number 2, and can be used more as a number 1. If they need to take a little bit of a load off Swift. And Swift is a great receiver. So they can definitely use him in a variety of different ways. So I'm really excited about the Lions offense this upcoming season. So
yeah, they need to have a nice improvement here. All right, I'm going to go with the Commanders.
Washington.
Antonio Gibson, really solid. J.D. McKissick is one of the best receiving running backs in the league. Drafted Brian Robinson out of Alabama. Jarrett Patterson played well when he got time. Reggie Bonnafon's been around with the Panthers. Jonathan Williams been around with everybody. So, yeah, I think it's a good room.
I'll go with the Steelers here. Steelers primarily rely on one running back, and they have for a very long time. Maybe on Bell, D'Angelo Williams, James Conner, and now it's Najee Harris. But they do have Benny Snell Jr., who I don't hate behind him, and Anthony McFarland Jr., Booger's son. He's really fast, and he's kind of fun to watch, and he's good in college at Maryland. So yeah. I doubt they're going to see the field much.
He had a kick return for a touchdown against Michigan once.
He did, and then he scored like 4 touchdowns against Ohio State one game.
He played with Ty Johnson there, right?
Yep, he did. But yeah, I think Najee Harris is going to get the lion's share of carries here, but I do like Najee Harris a lot.
I actually think out of all these running backs, Najee Harris will have the greatest percentage of team carries.
Yes,
all running backs.
Just because of how they play, that team traditionally has played.
They're just a workhorse. They run with a work. I mean, Derrick Henry could, I guess. I'm not going to rule that out, but even
completely healthy Derrick Henry, with no hiccups at all with injury, yeah, he might. But yeah, I think
unless they're going to try to preserve Derrick in the last couple of years, it's the only reason.
Pure.
Because even in Najee's rookie year last year, I think he had still 79% of the team carries.
Yep, rookie back at let's see, I've got it right here. He was the only back in the league to play over 70% of his team's offensive snaps. He played 83% of the team's offensive snaps.
Yeah, I knew it was somewhere in like the 75 to 85 range.
Ridiculous. 83% of his team's offensive snaps as a rookie is really one. I mean, it speaks to his talent. I mean, he was the best. I thought he was the best rookie running back. But
the only thing is you don't want to burn him out like Larry Johnson and the Chiefs.
No, you don't.
Larry Johnson from Penn State had like 500 carries for 3 straight years, and then he was dead.
Yep. So we'll see what happens. Different league. There's more throwing, but maybe they shouldn't throw the ball with that team and quarterbacks.
You're right. So I think we're at 22 here.
Yep.
Okay. I am going to go with the Bears. David Montgomery, I actually really like him. Like the way he runs, always pushes for that extra yard or two. Khalil Herbert at Virginia Tech as a rookie last year had a really nice season filling in. Then you get Darrington Evans off the Titans. Treston Ebner, really explosive running back from Baylor. Baylor was loaded with explosive running backs this year. So, yeah, I like the Bears, at least with Herbert and Montgomery alone.
Unfortunately, that's all the talent they have on offense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see what they can do even with just a piss poor offensive line too. So
Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
I am going to go with the Eagles here. I think they kind of, I mean, they have one of the best offensive lines in the league, better run blocking offensive lines in the league at least. And Jalen Hurts is a legit threat to run the ball, which really helps him out. But Miles Sanders has been really productive for the last few years. And then I really like Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell. Boston Scott can fly. So they've got three solid backs. Nobody that's just, screaming you need him. But Miles Sanders, I like Sanders. I usually try to take him in fantasy at some point later. So,
yeah. And then obviously Jason Huntley, they ripped off the Lions practice squad the year he's drafted. And then Kennedy Brooks, I felt like was the best undrafted running back out of
Oklahoma.
Yep. So, all right, 24. I think this is where I will go with the Bucks.
Yep.
With Leonard Fournette, Rashad White, Kishon Vaughan, Giovanni Bernard, and Kenyon Barner still around.
Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, so it was interesting to see the depth chart and have Gio Bernard 4 down, but I could see because they drafted Rashad White in the 3rd round. I could see them wanting to try to get him some time, and this may be a make or break year for Kishon Vaughan, who I think is going to his 3rd year, and they want to see if he's going to be even a contributing running back in this league. So.
He had some good games last year when I was watching him. When everybody was hurt for that team, and I was like, you could see some.
He's elusive. I just don't. It takes a while to get that
flash of talent. Yeah, and Fournette's been, kind of a godsend to them just because he kind of resurrected his career in Tampa Bay. So I think he's been solid. I don't know. I'll go with the Cardinals, I guess. James Conner, Darrell Williams, Keontae Ingram out of USC. They're going to lean on James Conner for sure. If James Conner, if he's much like he was last year, he had 18 touchdowns last year overall and over 1,000 all-purpose yards. He's great in short yardage. He's a good better receiver than people think. If he can stay healthy, I think he's a really good back. I loved watching him in those few years with Pittsburgh. He was so good. So I think they'll rely on Connor, but Darrell Williams isn't a terrible backup, and we'll see what they can get out of Keontae Ingram.
26. I'm going to go with the Rams now.
Yep.
I did have them on 23 on my list, but I pushed it back a couple rounds here on speaking them up. Cam Akers isn't super convincing. Darrell Henderson he was okay sometimes. He was also really bad sometimes. I think they want good things from Kieran Williams from Notre Dame. And then Jake Funk and Xavier Jones were names on the roster last year. Jones was hurt for most of the year, so he didn't really get his chance. But I think if Akers and Henderson don't do well, I think Kieran Williams is going to get his chance relatively early on.
This tells you how much of a quarterback-driven league it is, though, because they're talking about the defending Super Bowl champs being that low in a running, in a very, a main skill position.
The running game there is just good enough where you'd be like, okay, I have to at least.
You got to honor the run game and play action. That's all they're trying to get you to do.
Yep.
And keep Stafford on his feet is really all it is. So, and be good receivers for him too.
Yeah.
Okay.
27.
Man, I don't know. It depends on how much I'm really gonna rely on a rookie. I'm gonna go actually with the Jets here. 27. Breece Hall has everything you would look for on paper in a running back. So I think he's gonna get every opportunity. Then 4th round pick in 2021, Michael Carter was decent last year as a rookie. Hall has all the measurables to be, elite and be the best rookie running back. So I think, I'm sort of projecting here, but projecting at 27, that's fine. The Jets, they could really use some help to kind of maybe take a little bit of load off of Zach Wilson because he stinks. So if they have Breece Hall do that and, maybe can find some consistency on the offensive line, I think he could have a pretty good year.
Yeah, I mean, Tevin Coleman's always been a long time number 2. And
yes,
obviously Michael Carter,
receiver.
I think, can be a decent number 2. So there's potential there that can be tapped. So
and I'm excited to see Breece Hall because his testing numbers were absurd.
Mm-hmm. And he was always really good at Iowa State. So. 28, I'm going to go with the Jaguars. Just assuming that Travis Etienne didn't really get his chance to shine last year, but James Robinson, once again, they were just about to outcast him after he had another 1,200 season. They drafted Etienne. He got his chance again, still put up another 1,000 yards.
And Urban Meyer just didn't want to play him just because.
Yeah, just because he was Urban Meyer. But they draft Snoop Connor. Raquel Armstead is also back after he took the year off for a COVID year off last year and then had to get reconditioned. And then I still like Mekhi Sargent back there because I remember in Iowa. So,
all right. What number?
29.
Man, there's some bad. I'll go with the Chiefs.
Okay.
Not a great group, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a good receiver. And he's explosive if healthy. And then they do have Ronald Jones as well, who had some good season with Tampa Bay. He struggled with some fumbles. He's not a great receiver, but I like him as a runner. And they're going to be throwing the ball a lot anyway, so you're not really expecting a ton out of their backs, other than you need them to be good receiver, their starter especially to be a good receiver out of the backfield, like Edwards-Helaire. So we will see. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up picking up a couple guys. It seems like they pick up a good back, like McKinnon late in the year last year. Like it seems like they pick up like some speed back late in the year every single year.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised.
And then they still had to find a Derek Gore. Just kind of played pretty well for a minute there. So
I don't think it matters. Their running back means nothing.
Yeah, because again, it's just one of those things where they want. It's the same as the Rams. They want you to honor a running game, but they're going to rely on the passing game. So 30. I'm going to go with the 49ers. Elijah Mitchell, Jeff Wilson, Tyrion Davis-Price, Trey Sermon, JaMychal Hasty. So I still laugh. It's fun to see this with Trey Sermon being an Ohio State running backs have typically done relatively well in the NFL. But Trey Sermon did not in his opportunities that he got. There's, our fantasy league alone, there's a guy that spent like 65 waiver points to get him when Mostert and Elijah Mitchell went down last year, and he did nothing. And it was the biggest waste of 65 waiver points that anyone's ever done in the league. So it'll be interesting to see. Elijah Mitchell actually almost touched 6 yards per carry in his opportunities last year.
He was great. He's very fast. He ran a 4.3. So
Louisiana Monroe. Yeah.
He can fly. I think he fits they're trying to get to the edge with stretch plays too with Kyle Shanahan's offense. So I think he fits. I don't hate their running back room. They're gonna, just based off of scheme and an elite offensive line. I feel like if Trey Lance plays a little bit more, he might be able to open some things up. So I like their room.
Yeah. Second to last, baby. 31
teams left.
Like we said, none of these are like as bad as like last year. I feel like we had a unanimous 32 and a 31. This year, it's
I'm actually, man. I'll go with the Falcons. I mean, Cordell Patterson was a revelation last year, but it's going to be Damian Williams and what is it?
Algier.
Yeah. Those are the two. I mean, I like Damian Williams. I always have. I don't really know how I feel about him as a guy they're going to rely on. And Algier, I think he's going to be a guy who's just kind of gets the tough yards. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting.
Yeah, if he's a BYU running back, anything like Jamal Williams, will be happy.
Yeah, he'll be decent. So I mean, I don't hate that group. There's nobody there that I go, that's a pretty. I mean, both guys are decent. So, Yeah.
Well, that leaves the Houston Texans for the last 32. They picked up Marlon Mack off the Colts. Rex Burkhead's still there. After like 10 years now in the league. Damian Pierce, they drafted out of Florida. Royce Freeman from Oregon is now in his 5th year. And then Dare Aboumbawale had some time with Tom Brady and the Bucks at 3rd or 4th running back. So they've got names. Just none of these guys, all these guys are like guys you want to be your 3rd running back. So
yeah, I mean, they've got some guys. Marlon Mack's been around and had some good games and half seasons, and Royce Freeman's had some good games. Rex Burkhead's played on some good teams and had some good games, especially with the Patriots. So yeah, I'd agree. They're all like 3rd running backs, which is why they're at 32. So
yeah. So next week we'll do the 1992 MLB draft, and we will do passing game. So I know it's a little more specific. So this way we don't necessarily have to do tight ends will be included if they are considered a receiving threat tight end.
Flex.
So obviously when we do the blocking, we'll consider the blocking tight ends as part of that too. But yeah, this will be that's what we'll do next week to kind of make it more specific and not have to do as many position groups. So
that'll work.
But all right, we'll see you next week then.
See ya.